I wanted to start out with two of the most common freakouts I saw, which was Meals on Wheels and Sesame Street. On average, Meals on Wheels gets less than 3% of their funding from government and taxes, so I think that particular freakout is a little overdone. The world is not going to end. Possibly a celebrity will get mad, start a crowdfunding, and raise more money in a day than the government's paid in the last year or so. Let's move on to Sesame Street. Why is a children's show getting funded by the government? I did some research. Sesame Street actually loses money. Why are they losing money? The woman who made Barney didn't lose money. The Wiggles don't lose money. Yet you're telling me non-existent puppets can't make profit? It's one of the biggest brands in the world. How are they losing money? I'm sure with the right leadership, they could make millions on millions of dollars. So I think this is a little bit overblown as well. Now, what I want to say is this. I feel like anytime something happens, you have one side that completely freaks out. They lose it. It's the apocalypse. It's the end of the world. Everybody's going to die. The world is terrible. And then you have a side that everything Trump does is perfect. He can't do no wrong. Honestly, I think you're both being ridiculous. You're being absolutely insane to not look for the truth, to not look for the full story, to just read one headline, to make a tweet, celebrity tweeting. It's so much exaggeration and misleading media. We need to find a middle ground. Everything Trump does isn't the end of the world, and everything he does isn't perfect. We should be looking at some of these things. We should be looking at the EPA. We should look that it might cut funding for cleaning a lake. Cleaning a lake is something that we should probably do. Also, regardless of what you think about climate change, you have to understand clean air and clean water is a must. And it's something that we have to do ourselves if government doesn't do it for us. I'm a big environmentalist, but the EPA wasn't blocking pipelines during the Obama or Trump administration. They're not talking about the animal agriculture industry and trying to get people to stop eating beef. I'm sure they're doing something, but maybe we're wasting a little bit of money. It's a possibility. Half of the programs being cut, most of the people freaking out have probably never heard of. We can't just freak out about Meals on Wheels and Sesame Street because then we can't have a real honest conversation about stuff we should be talking about, like the EPA and the truth about the EPA and the truth about climate change and HUD being defunded, Housing of Urban Development. I obviously don't want to defund the Department of Education, but education in America has fallen as low as 14th or 17th in the world. We're the greatest country in the world and we're 17th in education. Something with these government programs wasn't working, so we do have to try something different. I'm not that excited about the military budget being higher. It sounds good on paper to give veteran affairs more money, and it sounds good on paper to give people help with opioid addiction. It doesn't sound good on paper to defund the EPA, to defund agriculture, to defund energy and put most of it into nuclear. To me, that doesn't sound good. But I want to get to the truth of what's going on. I don't want to just complain about the surface. I don't want to complain about what the mainstream media throws in my face so I can say, it's the end of the world. I want to know the truth. I really want to help people. I want to help my family. I want to help myself. But the left needs to understand we're not going to get to that point by freaking out about every little thing. And the right needs to understand not everything Donald Trump does is perfect. He's a human being. He's going to make mistakes. So that's my quick analysis. I think there's some good things. I think there's some bad things. But overall, we need to be able to have an honest discussion. We need to have a real discussion, a discussion about what's really going on. We can't get sensational from both sides and just spew out random hate and fear because that's never going to help any of us. At the end of the day, regardless of who's president or how big their budget is or where they're spending their money, we have to come together and figure out solutions. We can't wait for government, whether there's a lot of funding or a little funding. We have to be the change we want to see in the world, and we have to work together to better our own communities and to enrich our own lives.
Watch me living out the system, yeah, I stretch like every day. I be all about my fitness, keep my mind about the stress, so I always beat my sickness. I don't trust no corporation, cause they lie like politicians. I don't